Alrighty, what's happening, my dudes? Well, the time has come. I have reviewed all of the knives that I own. So, as a knife reviewer, or aspiring knife reviewer, I need to have new knives in order to review them. And since I'm not getting sent knives by distributors or makers for me to review, any new knife that I want to have on the channel, I need to buy. And I'm not a rich guy by any means. You can probably tell by my collection. I have a couple knives that are on the more expensive side, but as far as, if you were to compare me to a lot of other knife review YouTubers, this collection is very on the low end of the spectrum, money-wise. Which is totally fine. I love my knives. I have no complaints at all. I'm very happy to have the couple more pricey knives that I have. Very grateful. But that being said, I really hope to get to a point someday where I am getting sent knives for review by distributors, by makers, by other YouTubers, by other viewers, just the community in general. I would really love to get to that point, and that's one of my main goals in starting this channel. Is I love knives, and I can't afford to handle all the knives that I want to check out. So I'm hoping that happens eventually, and I think it will, as long as we stick with it, So that being said, I don't really have any knives to review right now, so I need to come up with other topics for videos. And I've been pondering this the past couple days, and I think I've come up with a pretty decent topic for a video. I think it's been done before, I'm sure, but today we're going to be answering a couple age-old questions that knife collectors have, or people curious about the knife community have. The first being, which of my knives is my best work knife? So we're going to be going through these and talking about each of them and their pros and cons as it pertains to it being a good work knife. And then we'll choose the one that I think is best for me in my job and what I do at work. Secondly, we're going to talk about what is my best sub $50 knife. So, a lot of newcomers to the knife community don't feel comfortable spending over $50 on a knife, and that's completely understandable. I was one of those for a long time until I finally, surpassed the $100 mark and kind of, entered into that realm of knife collecting and knife purchasing. But I still purchase sub $50 knives all the time. I just bought this one. This is a $25 knife. And I love it. So I'm definitely not above buying cheap knives either. The third question we're going to ask is, which of these knives is my most fidgety knife? Fidgety meaning just fun to mess around with and play with, For me, knives are number one, tools, but number two, I'm a person that likes to have my hands busy all the time. And I've tried fidget toys, and I've tried, I bought a Rubik's Cube a while back because I thought I would, that would satiate my restless hands. But knives are really the thing that I've found just satisfies that itch the best. I think it's a combination of the sounds they make and the fact that they are also tools, so they have dual purposes. But yeah, I love to play with my knives. Not only use them, but play with them. And then finally, the big question that everyone wants to know, everyone asks themselves, every knife collector has asked themselves this question. If you had to get rid of all your knives and keep only one, which would it be? And we're going to answer that question too. So, let's jump right into it. Why did I say that so weird? I don't know. So, what is my best work knife? Let's talk a little bit about what I look for in a work knife, first of all. I usually look for a knife with a low point, meaning the Manix 2, for example, there's not much of a belly on the knife. If you're not familiar with the term belly, it refers to the amount that the edge swoops up to reach the point. A knife that I have with a lot of belly would be this Rat 1. This would be the belly section of the blade. This part where it converts from this flat area, then you have the belly, and then you reach the point at the very tip. So this area here is the belly. Now, if you have substantial belly on a knife, that raises the tip up. If you were to draw a center line through the handle here, and it would come up, the tip would be above that center mark. See what I mean? Now, on a knife like the Manix 2, if we put that ruler on the center line, the tip is below the center line. And what you get when you have a low point like that is it's really good for draw cuts and utility cuts. Because if you, let's say this is the surface that I'm wanting to cut on. I'm holding the knife here, and I want to get to the tip so that I can slice. I'm not having to raise my hand up very far to get to that point, to get to that point on the tip that is going to give me my maximum performance on the cut. So I'm not having to raise my hand up too much to get to that point, and I can very easily reach it and do my cut without having to do a weird kind of bend with my wrist to get it. Now let's look at that compared to the Rat 2. You know, the point is way up here, so I'm having to lift my wrist and my arm all the way up here. And you get less leverage that way. You're kind of up here, you're more, you're kind of wobbling around, and it's harder to steady the knife. So that's something that I look for in a work knife. A lot of sheep's foot style blades or Warncliffe style blades are really good like that. I mean, this one has no belly at all. It's just it's a straight edge. It's what they call a Warncliffe blade. And this knife in particular is extremely, extremely good at those draw cuts, because it's very, very sharp at this tip, and you have a lot of leverage, down on that tip. You're down low, you're not up here getting all wobbly. You're down here. A lot of control, a lot of power. The other thing I look for in a good work knife is the absence of bearings. I'm a welder, and if you don't know, or if you never have used an angle grinder, which I do all day, every day pretty much, when you're using an angle grinder, you get covered in a fine metal dust, and it fills up my pockets. It gets in my eyes sometimes. It gets just everywhere. And I noticed early on when I started carrying some types of bearing knives, they were just getting really gunked up and kind of, I would have to be cleaning them out quite often, because that metal dust would get in to the pivot area and into the bearings, and it was just a nightmare. And some knives, like my Praxis here, will never be the same, because it must have damaged them somehow internally. Still a really smooth knife, but it used to be a lot smoother. And I've cleaned them out. I've taken the bearings out and cleaned them, but it's just not quite the same. So I decided that I'm only going to carry knives using washers at work. And you can get great action on washers. Like the PM2 is completely free swinging blade. Very good action. You don't need bearings to have good action. a lot of bearing knives do have great action, but it's not necessary. So if we're looking through the knives here, we can just automatically take out any knives with bearings in them. That would be the Towser K, the Pilars. I do still sometimes carry the Pilar 3 to work, just because it's a relatively inexpensive knife, and I don't care too much if the bearings get messed up. And it's just such a great work knife that I can't really resist taking it to work with me. The ergos in this knife are insane. And has a pretty low tip, not much belly, so that checks that box. So I would say this is a contender for work knife. This is out. This is out. This one I do carry to work a lot, but I carry this more as a secondary knife. So I wouldn't really count this one. The Rats would definitely qualify. I've definitely carried particularly the Rat 2 to work quite a bit. All of the Spydercos would qualify for that. This one, not anymore. I used to. It has bearings. My Penguin, absolutely work knife. My new Land 810, obviously work knife. 80-20.5, not a work knife, although it would be a good work knife with this really strong locking mechanism. It would be great, but I'm scared I'm going to ruin those bearings and just, get all kinds of metal dust and grit inside the locking mechanism, and I just haven't had the heart to take this to work with me yet. I carry it all the time when I'm not working on the weekends or whatever, but yeah, not a work knife. And then finally the Kaiser Rogue, definitely a contender as my best work knife. So, which can we eliminate right out the gate? Let's take out the Rats, because although I really do like them, they've got a lot of belly, and I like to have my tips low for work. So those are out. The Pilar Large, I'm going to have to take out just because it has bearings. 20.5 out. So it's really going to come down to, I think, the Kaiser Rogue, Manix 2, PM2, and the Penguin. So let's talk about each a little bit individually. I already talked about the Manix a little bit. It's got that really nice low point. Very extremely ergonomic. Never ever sliding out of your hand. Not a possibility of that ever. Very strong locking mechanism. Extremely strong. I mean, this lockup is it's like a jail cell or something. I don't know. It's so strong. I really like this as a work knife. PM2, kind of the same deal, but its tip kind of trails up a bit more than the Manix. You can see there. So I do like this as a work knife, but just not quite as much as the Manix 2. Let's see. The Penguin, great work knife. Again, we got that Wharncliffe. Really good for utility cuts. It's a little bit small. I usually like to carry a little bit of a bigger knife at work. And then we have the Kaiser Rogue. Really like this knife for a work knife. I really do. The only complaint is pretty thick blade stock thickness, so it's not the best slicer. Not that I do a whole lot of slicing at work, but I think I'm gonna have to give it to the Manix 2 as my best work knife. This thing is just, I feel so good having this in my pocket at work. I feel like I can do anything, and I can, really. It's got a little bit of a beefier tip than on the PM2. The lockup is just insanely strong. Just the sliciest blade, it's crazy. And the steel, the S30V, Spyderco has done such a good job with it. I can tell a substantial difference between the S30V on this and the one on my Bug Out, my Benchmade Bug Out. And I'm not a professional sharpener by any means, but even I can tell the difference. That Spyderco just nailed it with the S30V. So, Mannix 2, winner of my best work knife. Alright, I'm realizing now this is going to take a while, so I think we should hurry it up a little bit. Let's see, what is my best sub $50 knife? So, let's just do this. Let's make the top row the over 50 and the bottom row under 50. How about that? Let's see, these can come down. I'm not going to have enough room. Really? Okay, I think that's it. Yeah. That one was like just about 50. So I think I can include that one. Okay, all right. Bottom row is all my sub $50 knives. What is my best sub $50 knife? It's kind of hard to define best, you know. That's a subjective term. For me, I'm going to go with just my favorite. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be the best functioning, the best, EDC, the lightest, the best work applications type of knife. Just my favorite. Right off the bat, the Momentum hat is definitely right up there. I really love the Momentum. Just fantastic front flipper and thumb stud combo here. Action is insanely smooth for a $45 knife. I mean, look at that. Detent, incredible. Just flies out. Front flipper, incredible. You can even slow roll out the front flipper. Fantastic. And the Praxis is one of my other favorite, more budget-friendly knives. And this thing, it's similar to the Mannix 2 in a way, especially in the blade shape. Just a really slicey, thin blade, extremely ergonomic. You got that choke up spot up here. Really nice and roomy handle. Little thumb ramp there. Really, really like this knife. And my Pilars, I really, like I said, the Pilar 3 I really like. Pilar Large really like. I don't carry this one too much. It's more of like just kind of a fun little knife. But the action on this baby is pretty good. I mean, this one is a fidget beast. The CGRB Mylea. Tons of opening methods with this guy. Really fun to mess around with. My slip joint, the Rough Rider work knife, incredible. The Rat, amazing thumb stud action, cheap knife, and then the Land. I mean, they're all pretty good. My favorite, jeez, that's pretty hard. It's going to be between the Kubi Momentum and the Civivi Praxis. I'm going to have to go with the Momentum. I just got to go with my gut on this one. Fantastic, fantastic knife. Really roomy handle. No hot spots at all. Nice little harpoon kind of cut out here for your thumb to rest on. You can choke up, you can get real close to the blade. It's just, there's so many good things about this knife. I have to choose it. Alright, let's move things back around here a little bit before we move on. Hopefully you guys are finding this interesting and are still watching. Or am I still in frame here? What did I do differently? I did something weird here. What did I do? Where was this one? I think the penguin was up there. Oh man, this is getting all messed up. Okay. Are we good? Yeah, I think we're good. Okay. Okay, what is my most fidgety knife? Obviously, you know, we've got the compression lock on Spyderco's. Pretty freaking fidgety. Especially on the Para 3. At least on mine, my detent is real nice and snappy. I need to get a CME on the Para 3. I've got one on my Para 2 and I really, on my PM2 and I really like it. So those are very fidgety. The Towser K, best action on any knife that I own, is fidgety in its own way. You know, it doesn't have a crazy kind of lock, just a liner lock thumb stud, but I mean, just look at that. You really have to experience it in your hands to fully appreciate how amazing that is. And then, of course, the 80-20.5 with the shark lock. So many means of deployment. You got thumb studs. You've got the reverse flick. You got that slot for the reverse flick. You've got the shark lock. You can just, use your wrist to flick it out. So many ways to close it. You can use your pointer finger. You can use your thumb, which I kind of like to do. And you can do this. You can use your thumb, let it fall, and then take your fingers out, and bam. There's just so much to do on this knife. It's so much fun. And, the noise that it makes is just, it's music to my soul. That clickety-clackety. It's just so good. Obviously, this one's the winner. It's not really a contest. This is just, yeah. Especially with these aluminum scales, I feel like that boosted the acoustics of the knife, as well as just the general feeling of it, into a whole new level. And I'm sure when I finally get some titanium babies on this, it's going to be fidgetability is going to be raised even higher. So, final question. What knife would I keep if I had to get rid of all of these but one? And I go through kind of phases where I'm like, man, I have too many knives, which I really don't have that many compared to a lot of knife collectors. But I think to myself, man, I need to just pick like 3 of my favorites and just get rid of the rest. Just get rid of them, I go through phases of thinking like that. And then I quickly buy another knife that I want to check out, and it becomes one that I don't really want to get rid of. Like this one. $25. And I really like it. I don't really want to get rid of it. But if I had to, man. All right, here's how I'm going to think about it. Say something happened to the Earth, and we were in a survival type situation, without the same resources that we have access to now. Just think kind of post-apocalyptic wasteland kind of thing. Which knife would I take out of all these that I feel would serve me the best in that situation? That's how I kind of think about it. I mean, even though we're not in a apocalyptic scenario, even if I did actually do this and get rid of all my knives but one, that's the one. Say I chose the Momentum. I decide to choose this, I get rid of all my other knives, and then next week we have nuclear warfare and shit hits the fan. Am I going to be happy with having chosen this one? Did I choose it just because I like the front flipper? That's not very smart. I need to choose something that will last me the rest of my life, potentially. So keeping that in mind, honestly, my sub $50 knives are out. Just because, not that they're bad knives, but the materials that they're made out of, and just their general construction, I feel might not hold up to lasting my whole lifetime, or a very intense situation. So those are going to have to be out. Let's see. Let's make the top row the possibilities here. No, I can't add this, even though it has amazing action. I don't think I can add this one to the list. With the Kaiser Rogue, you would never have to worry about this blade breaking. So that's a plus for sure. the knife becomes absolutely useless if it breaks. 80-20.5. Also pretty thick blade stock. Won't really have to worry about that breaking. It's got, a very robust thick tip. That's good. Reliable locking mechanism. I've never heard of these breaking or, the spring messing up somehow or anything like that. So I think this could be a good choice. PM2, big, can handle a lot of tasks where you might need a bigger knife. I mean, mine has titanium, so it's going to be very durable. I feel like the PM2 is probably the toughest of the bunch here, which is a very good thing and a very desirable attribute if I'm picking one knife. I want it to be tough. It gets pretty thin at the tip, so I would be careful with the tip. But back here, I mean, it's thick stuff. The Para 3, probably not, just because it's a little small. That would be the only reason I wouldn't choose it. There's some tasks that I would need a larger blade for, so that one has to be out. The Manix 2 might be a pretty good choice. I mean, I feel like this locking mechanism would never fail. But it does have a spring in it, and springs I feel like, are finite. Am I going to make that distinction? Are springs out because they are fragile? I think I have to. And I think I have to. So that means the 80-20.5 is out also because it has a spring inside here. So it's between the Kaiser Rogue and the Spyderco PM2, and I think the answer is pretty obvious. It's going to be the PM2. I mean, that's just the obvious choice, right, guys? I mean, S45VN steel, it'll hold an edge a long time, durable. Titanium construction, very durable as far as that goes. Locking mechanism doesn't have any springs or any parts that can readily break. It's just basically a liner lock that's, on the back of the knife. Lots of jimping, just really good slicer, cutter. Yep. This is the one knife I would keep, folks. Although I am getting a knife in the mail, I don't know when, but I just ordered it this afternoon. That could possibly take the place of this. So, you'll see a video on it soon. It should be here, I think it's coming next Tuesday. So, keep your eye out for that. I think it could knock this out of first place of knife that I would keep. We'll have to see. It'll be close. Alright, well, I appreciate you guys sticking with me for this 28-minute video. I forgot to add my Bali song. Do you think that would be in the running at all? Anybody? Any Bali fans? This is just a cheapo Baron Sun. I do like the hollow grind on it though. I'm not a very good flipper. I have a couple trainers that I use. I do know a couple tricks, but anyways. Let's see. Let's get all these back so I can take a photo for the thumbnail. And yeah, like I said, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate your time, taking the time to check this out. Make sure to use my links down below in the descriptions of all the videos. I have a list of gear that I use and recommend there, as well as if I'm reviewing a specific knife, I will, if I can, link it in the description so that you guys can click that and go buy it on Amazon. And if you do that, I get a very small percentage of the sale. It's only a couple cents, but if enough people do it, I might get 10, 20 bucks a month, which would be awesome. All right. I freaking love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.